Kane, Corns and Blighty with you through until 7 o'clock. Lucky enough to have the Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinkley on the line, all thanks to our good friends at DW Fox Tucker Lawyers. They are the employment law specialists. Kenny, it's a shame we're not speaking to you after a win, but it's been a difficult fortnight for your club. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, boys. It has been a challenging fortnight when things are in a pretty healthy position, and then you have a couple of disappointing weeks. It certainly puts us back in the pack and having to fight for every inch.
How did you assess it, Kenny? Because I thought there was some good footy, and particularly second half. You had enough entries. I think it was 31-17 in the second half, and it looked like you were putting them under some serious pressure. Dixon got going, some others got going. So what did you make of it? Because it wasn't all bad.
No, it wasn't. No, look, we played that well the week before. We'd probably win the game the week before and we're in a much more healthier position, but we didn't. So we're buts and maybes, but we certainly took a bit more positives out of the fact that we're playing one of the informed teams in the competition at the moment, and we were able to put them under extreme pressure in the last quarter. And our Achilles heel, as it has been, is the ability to hit the scoreboard well enough, and we weren't able to do that. And I felt as if we ever got that one goal and closed within the goal, She's a pretty interesting last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, they beat Richmond the week before too, so they're going okay. Just, Ken, I want to ask you a question, just on a technical point of view. Having watched you closely all year, you can miss a kick and you can miss a handball. That's not you per se. The team, as a general, doesn't quite finish going forward. With your training regime, do you still have? And I must have seen. I haven't watched, so I'm only asking. Do you still have pressurised situations at training where blokes have to make decisions under pressure rather than just run around?
Yep. 100% correct, Malcolm. We do all the time, and that's what we do. We have skill analysis people working with us now in Carl Woods. We value and list all our training and the number of decisions the boys have to make, the amount of work that we have to put into having those drills correct for a game day. It's easy to do kick and catch drills, but to put the pressure in there and put the decision-making in there is the key to good training, and we think we do that pretty well, but we haven't been able to transfer as well as we'd like.
No, so just taking up from... I got introduced to penalties at training when I was very, very young, with half a madman as a coach. No, he wasn't. He was a great coach, really. Do you do penalties at training? I mean, if someone actually messes up, do you actually say to the guys, that's not good enough, go and do a 400 or something like that?
Yeah, probably not so much 400, but we certainly make a point of it, and then there's been a number of times where we stop training and we would talk about, the outcome and the result that we're trying to achieve, and it's unacceptable at our level to miss those opportunities at training, which is obviously even easier than it is in game. So, we're paying a big price at the moment for missing opportunities. We really understand that, but we couldn't be doing any more. We couldn't be putting any more pressure on the boys at training, and we're just not transferring as well as we'd like.
So just to finalise just on this tack, so when you do the review of the game, and I remember looking at, on Sunday Footy Show, Kane and I showed, just some things you did against Fremantle, where just the skill areas were just so basic, almost not under pressure. Do you actually show that in front of the group so that everyone gets the awareness of what the result of that is, or do you just forget about it?
No. You certainly don't forget about it. We highlight the what we consider really important parts. We don't typically highlight something as simple as there's a kick from A to B that you should hit. We point out the outcomes and what comes about from some of that. If we miss that opportunity, we miss the first give, the easy early option that we would call it. The pressure that puts the team under, not only from not being able to score, but also from having to defend that as well, because we're one of the best at getting the entries, but we're also one of the best at doing ourselves harm when we get that entry. We just miss that final part of the game that we need to get right. Just
finalising this little group here. So when a player does it, let's say, Kane Corns missed the kick twice during the game. Will you see him, and is he allowed to go out there after training, say do that little bit extra with a teammate or with a coach or someone else, and just you see them working on that to get it right?
Absolutely, 100%. We more than want that. We encourage that, and the players want to do that too. We had the training today, and we have we discuss training, what we're going to do, and at the end of training, there's leadership players. And I remember today, Charlie Dixon pipes up and says things like, "Boys, we're missing too many of these opportunities. You've got time. We need to do more of it. Let's make sure we don't miss any of those opportunities at the end of training, before training, during training." So, they're a really diligent group at trying to fix their problems. They know what the problems are. just got to keep working at it. As you know, and I know, it sometimes takes a while.
Kenny, I know you're a big thinker about the mix of your squad, and you'd be already sort of a picture of how your side looks this weekend and what's the best mix. But there's some challenges probably for the first time this year, and with Ryder out, that comes. So the question is, what do you think you'll do in ruck this week?
We'll pick a ruck. There's no doubt about that. We'll pick a ruck and bring them into the side. It's just a matter of what that ruck is and who that ruck is at this point. We've had some initial discussions today. Obviously, there's pretty simple ones that the exposed people that we have, Frampton and Laddams are in that mix, and as I said, right through, Ryder's still not out of the question, but we'll work through that as we get through the week. So we'll definitely need to pick a ruck. We can see what, the stability that it does with Dixon and Westhoff. We know Westhoff's capable of chopping out and filling in at times, but sometimes you just got to deal with what you got to deal with. I will say this, that, at the end of round 6, when Paddy came back into the side, we had 2 young rucks who were miles off it. We've had another 12 weeks since then. Both boys probably have played their best footy in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully one of them will, if they need to, get that opportunity, and they'll show that. So
you're talking of Laddams and also Frampton. Kenny, can you take us through the strengths and I guess what you're weighing up of both? What does each one bring and what's going through your head right now just in terms of what you need?
Well, Pete's certainly the younger. Obviously, he's a bit taller. And Billy's obviously, a bit older, a bit more mature, been around the system for a bit longer. He's not as tall. He's 200 centimetre, but the opponents that they're coming up against this week in the Bulldogs have probably got that size ruckman. Some of the challenges we have, like last week, you have a Dawson Simpson who's 206, 207. It makes a bit of a difference. Our boys, clearly, they're a bit younger. They're not quite as strong as they would like to be just at this point in time. But, if they get an opportunity, they'll come in and try and do their best they can.
Motlop good to go back in this week?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was 15 minutes before the game pulled out last week. And if there's a player we miss in that finishing space, Stephen Motlop is that player. I think to the point of Stephen was in the side on the weekend, providing 1 or 2 of those classy finishes that, we wouldn't, perhaps we still don't win, but we got awful close. Yeah,
we've been speaking about that. Yesterday and today, no doubt he was a huge loss. Kenny, we have to ask you about the criticism coming from across the border. Now, I said that my old man used to say to me when I was angry about some criticism coming my way, even the harshest criticism, there's some truth behind it. Do you take any of that, or do you completely shut it down and put it to bed and say that's just not us?
Which criticism are we talking about, Kane?
Well, let's have a listen for those that are just joining the program. This is Gary Lyon and Paul Roos on Fox Footy last night.
I'd never seen so many blokes throw their arms out at umpiring decisions and think they're the most hard done by group going around. Put your nose over. Wingard, Dixon, Tommy Rockcliffe, always got plenty to say. Now's the time, boys. 5 weeks to go. You've got enough talent to finish in the top 4. Stop worrying about everyone else. Put your head over the footy and start to play the footy.
You're right. You talked about the top 4 of Giants, Brownie, and I don't disagree, but there's a lot of talent in that team. There's an enormous amount of talent in that
That's the problem, Roosie. We see the talent. We go, how good are they? Then the reality is, so something's happening.
That's a big test for Port on and they failed that test. This team, Port, when they play in the prelim final,
13, was it? 14.
So we're talking 5 years. They haven't got back to a prelim. They haven't got to a grand final. This is almost the biggest underachieving footy team in the last 5 years with the talent they've got.
So just to sum it up, I see 3 levels of criticism there. So the first one, Kenny's from Gary Lyon saying, put your head over it and get it done, which I completely disagree with. I think your contested footy is as strong as anyone in the competition. So you're right to deny that. Also with the whinging, I'll make it easy for you. I've watched Port Adelaide as closely as anyone. I haven't seen any player whinge any more than any other team. So that's the one there. The third one, underachieving. Is there any truth to that criticism so far this year?
Look, it's an opinion. Look, Paul sits in the comfort of a couch now, and he gave up coaching, and underachieving and everything else. He's got some right to have an opinion. I look forward to hearing those opinions, but they don't distract us. We're given everything we can. We're in the competition up to our ears at the moment. Underachieving is a side that's probably been at the bottom of the ladder for 5-6 years, perhaps, or not played finals at any point in time. Yeah, we understand the evenness of the competition. We've got a good squad, if healthy, like a number of teams in the competition. So, look, I can get into the argument. I don't think it's a worthwhile argument we're having. I respect opinions, that's all I'll say.
Well said. Just before we let you go, can we just have a quick injury update? So Ryder probably 1 week, maybe 2 weeks away, and you don't think he'll play this week?
Might spook you and say it's a chance.
Oh, good. That'd be nice. That'd be a good surprise. Now, Jonas, I read on the injury report 5 weeks away, which is maybe a little bit longer than you may have thought, or is that just a conservative approach?
No, that's way off the mark. Way off the mark. Jonas would be a sneaky chance Sunday, if not a definite if all things go well the following week.
Gee, he's important for you. I reckon he's nearly as important player. It's a bit like Rance at Richmond, isn't he? I think he's as important as any player in your team, Ken.
Yeah, he is, Malcolm. If you take Rance and you take Nankervis out of Richmond,
yeah, that's right.
You know, it's a challenge. We understand, but every side's had their challenges. Yep. We're not going to cry for us. We're just going to deal with what we deal with, and sooner we can get both. You know, we would consider our best back, and obviously our best and only ruckman back into a team, the better team will be.
Good stuff, Kenny. Appreciate your honesty, and good luck on Sunday against the Bulldogs.
Yeah. Sunday in sunny Ballarat.
That'll be about 1 degree.
A minimum of 3 and a maximum of 10.
Yeah.
Well, you've played there once and had one win, I think.
It's our lucky ground. We can't wait to get back there.
That's it. Good attitude. Ken Hinkley there, the Port Adelaide coach.